Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. We hope it is good. Welcome to another episode of Geeks Who Like Sports, Season 2, Episode 12. As always, I'm Ray Carcillo in beautiful Los Angeles, California, joined my best friend and travel over in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Lee Elias. Lee, how you doing today, buddy?
Ray, I've been listening to just nonsense on sports radio in Philadelphia for the last 20 hours. I mean, it's just the speed at which Philadelphia sports can implode on itself has always been amazing to me with now 10-4 team. I did say, Ray, I did say that if should they lose to the Seahawks,
Yeah.
concern will seep in. And I am, yes, as a fan, now mildly concerned.
Yes.
But as a fan base, it's we're never gonna win Super Bowl. This team, the quarterback, he's not as good as we're frauds. The quarterback, he's a fraud. The coach has got to go. I'm like, okay, that's a little further than I'm willing to go at this point.
Yeah.
Congrats to the Seahawks on winning that game. Drew Lock, fantastic to see you back. Gave an amazing post-game press conference, which you can see my reaction to that on the Geeks Who Like Sports Instagram, along with my own. But here's the deal. I want to take this as a coaching approach, okay? Yes, you should be concerned. Team loses 3 games in a row. Team is still 10-4. Team is still clinched the playoff spot. You have to keep that in the back of your mind. I am not making excuses here. Jalen Hurts is sick, has been sick, and the play calling last night was dreadful.
Yes.
By our offensive coordinator for a quarterback who is sick. Most rushing yards on the team, most runs this season for Jalen Hurts, 2 bomb passes at the end of the game that made really no sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah.
Not to mention, we got outcoached last night too. All right, they picked us apart on defense. It was a little bit of an ugly fourth quarter for the Eagles. They deserved to lose, right?
Yeah.
And but and this is what I say. Okay, playing New York next week, the Giants, the team that's actually not statistically out of the playoffs yet. Sorry, Jets. All right, we're playing the Giants, and it's like, okay, if we get healthy and we lose that game, now I'm
Then
really
you should be panicking.
yes, that would be a panic scenario.
Right.
But everybody's like, we lost the division, we lost it. It's like we're acting like this is what I don't get at sports fans in general. This is not limited to Philadelphia. It's not like the 49ers are shit. It's not like they came out of nowhere and they were like, oh my God. Like, I don't get it. It's like I said this weeks ago, Ray, when we were on that huge winning streak. It's like there's other teams around. Like the Eagles are not the only team there. You got to play the full season.
Yep.
You get to the playoffs.
I mean, you could argue if Brock Purdy didn't get hurt last year that the Eagles don't win the NFC.
Absolutely. Okay. I think that's a very fair assessment. It would have been a totally different game.
Very different game. Yeah.
I harken back to I believe it was this week, several years ago, our quarterback got severely injured and was out for the season. We ended up winning the Super Bowl. It was 5 years ago. All right. So I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm saying that as a coach, you have plenty of time to turn this around. You have the best possible schedule to figure it out.
Yeah.
They make it sound, Ray, like if you don't get that first round bye, there's no point of even playing in the playoffs. All right. And I will say that it is a huge advantage to have that first round bye. No doubt.
Sure.
Okay. But it's like, I'm not even thinking that far ahead. Like I'm thinking next game, New York Giants, you got to show up. You got to start putting complete games together. It is a good thing. This is the only silver lining. I wish more Eagles fans would listen to this. It is a good thing that we are getting dismantled now because we have the time to fix it.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's just, again, the only thing that kills me last night is I wish I had more of an understanding. I'm not saying this as a damnation. It's like, I wish I understood the play calling in the fourth quarter a little bit more for the Eagles, who should have just taken a long drive down the field.
Yeah, you just needed some classic 4-minute drives, put points on the board, and the game is over.
Not taking our sick quarterback and throwing a Hail Mary pass for really no reason whatsoever.
I mean, and to be fair, the refs did miss the pass interference call on that. But at the same time,
but I won't complain about
it. It's one of those things where, again, why are you taking that shot? in a way. You know what I mean? Like,
I just didn't get it. Was it a hero move? Was it? I mean, first off, whose decision was it? Right?
right.
Was it a hero move? Was it like I can end this thing right now? Because I'll tell you what, that's a discipline problem either way.
Yeah.
I mean, just my football senses. I'm not an NFL coach. I never coached in the NFL, but my football senses are when you're up by 7, right, or you're up by whatever you're up by late in the game, you take 4-yard runs, 4-yard passes. You have the brotherly shove, so you've got a free yard every drive.
Yeah.
Right? You just do these little 4-yard plays. You got 3 chances. Statistically, you're probably going to get down the field.
Yes.
Right? And you don't even have to score. That's the other thing. You don't even have to score. All right? And so I don't know. That was frustrating for me as a fan.
Yeah.
But for Philadelphia Eagles fans, you got to calm down. It's not the end of the world here yet. They have time to turn this around. I'm going to say it one more time. Lose to the Giants? Yes, it is time to panic. Something is drastically wrong in that locker room.
Right.
If that is the case. I do not expect us to do that. I do not expect that to be a blowout. I never do.
No, the Giants, I think, will show up, especially on defense.
Well, and Ray, I've been saying since you've known me that I don't care what the record is in the NFC East. It's always a good
It's
game.
why Washington is always competitive against you guys in Dallas. Right. It's like, yeah, even when the teams are bad, there's just enough bad blood there that everybody gets up for those games.
You want to wake the Eagles up? Play the Giants twice.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's like, hey, guys, there's one thing losing to Seattle in this city. It's another thing if you lose to Dallas or the New York Giants. Right? And that other team that's in Virginia soon.
Yes, we'll get to that later. No, I don't think it's panic time for the Eagles. I think
you should listen to the radio here, Ray. They're past.
I don't want to.
Past panic, Ray.
I do not.
Season's over. This is
why
over.
I do not listen. I see clips once in a while on X where I will see stuff from New York or I will see stuff from Philly, and I'm like, this is why I don't listen to this stuff anymore.
I know.
Because it is just sensationalistic BS from people who don't know what they're talking about.
I want to tell people in Philly, like, it could be worse. We could be talking about chicken parm and the Italian Hall of Fame because that's all the Giants fans have to hold on to right now. We're complaining about like again 3 losses.
Where was Drew Lock's agent?
Yes.
Where's his emoji? Where's Drew Lock's agent in Seahawk green on the sideline?
He doesn't need to be there. Look, I'll just say this in closing. This gauntlet part of the season, I think we had said if they go 3-3, that's good, and they have gone 3-3. Now, didn't expect 3 losses after 3 wins. All right, but it is not panic time yet. It is definitely time for concern, as I've stated several weeks in a row. But I'm not going to panic. This is fine. This is fine. That's what I'll be saying next week if we lose. This is fine.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. If you lose to the Giants next week, then you probably are toast for the division. It will probably go to Dallas.
100%.
Yeah.
Now we have a game at hand on the division, and we have split with Dallas. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens the rest of the way.
So I think if you guys win out, here's the thing, because you lost to Seattle, I think the Dallas now has the tiebreaker, actually.
So Dallas is ahead of us right now because
now. But even if you both win, if the Eagles win out, they still flip flop with Dallas.
Right.
Is that how it's still going? So okay.
Well, we have the same record, and the only reason they're ahead of us in the division right now is because of the division record. They are, I believe, 4-1, and we are 3-1. But we have a game at hand on them in the division.
Right. But if they win their final. So wait, are they 4-1? I don't know what Dallas is.
If they win out and we win out, they will win the division.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. So because you lost, that's what happened. So because you lost last night, what happens is that you guys will, if you win out and they win out, you will both finish with 5-1 division records. Because of that, the next tiebreaker is conference record. Because you lost to Seattle last night, that's what I'm saying. Dallas is now in the driver's seat for the division, but they will have to win out.
Yes, and I will say that I believe it will be unlikely for them to win out. I think
they have a far harder schedule. They are going to Miami next week. Miami is starting to. I mean, Miami. Here's the thing: what Miami are you going to get? Are you going to get the Miami that can beat a team that can only beat teams below 500?
They're heating up. They're heating up.
Yeah. They are looking very, very good. They are going to have Tyreek Hill back next week for that game. They've already said after they absolutely demolished the Jets to kick them out of the playoff picture. Ha bye-bye. Sorry. I mean, like, look, even with Aaron Rodgers, I wasn't picking the Jets to get into the playoffs this year. They don't have they don't have the weapons on offense. They don't. I'm sorry. It's just not an impressive club.
It's not. It's not. They're not where they need to be to compete.
No, and I think a lot of that goes to their head coach and whatnot. I really think that I really think that the Aaron Rodgers excuse goes only so far. I think Robert Saleh is done with the Jets. I think if they all come back for one more year for the Jets, I think that is a disservice to. I mean, look, Jets fans are insufferable as it is, but it's a disservice to those insufferable fans.
Everyone's gonna say we didn't get our true chance this year, and that's why everyone's gonna probably get one more year. I believe that if Saleh does leave the Jets, someone is going to get a jackpot in getting him because I think he's actually a pretty good coach. We'll see.
We will see. We will see.
He's a good coach with a mediocre football team.
Very much so. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Also, some records around the league. The Raiders put up more points than they've ever put up in history after being shut out by the Vikings. The Raiders exploded against the Chargers, 63-21. It was a scoreagami for those of you who are interested in that. It's the first time it's ever happened in NFL history. The Raiders keep their slim playoff chances alive with that win. The Chargers are now eliminated, and they also decided to eliminate their coach this week after that. And Brandon Staley finishes with the most Chargers record ever, 24-24 as a head coach and 0-1 in the playoffs. Of course, if he wasn't such a terrible coach, those numbers would have been better. Honestly, a lot of folks think he should have been fired after the playoff collapse against Jacksonville. They were up 27-0 last year, and then, of course, gave up 4 straight touchdowns to lose that game. So they finally get their wish. And then, of course, now there are the rumors that instead of firing Bill Belichick up in New England, as they continue to spiral downhill, the Chiefs handled them easily, got back on track. Patrick Mahomes still has it, so he's never lost 3 games in a row in his career. That losing streak again ends at 2 with the win over the Patriots by 10. But the rumor is that now Bill Belichick, how about trading yourself to the Chargers? Since he has control, he is the general manager there. Lee, what are your thoughts? Do you think Bill Belichick calls up the Chargers, a team that is much better built to win now? They have a quarterback. They have a couple of weapons. They have some good pieces on defense like Joey Bosa. Does Belichick instead sit down with Robert Kraft at the end of this year? And Robert Kraft is like, I don't want to fire you, but if you don't get ready, if you don't trade yourself, we're going to fire you. And does Belichick go and call somebody like a Los Angeles Chargers and it's like, send a 2nd-round pick to New England, and I'll pack my bags and I'll be in LA tomorrow?
No, I don't believe any of that's going to happen. If Bill Belichick is going to leave the New England Patriots, the smartest thing he could do right now is take a year off from football. Don't coach anywhere. Don't go anywhere. If you're not going to coach the Patriots, take a year off. You need a break. You look like you need a break. Right? The way he's going, and here's the thing. He needs to reassess his coaching style. Not that he's a bad coach. There are several coaches right now in sports, like Hall of Fame coaches, Ray, having some real problems. You can look at the San Antonio Spurs. Yeah. All right. You can look at the New York Mets. All right. So I think a lot of these coaches need to just take a year off and reassess and figure it out. And, I don't think a lot of the Patriots' problems are on Belichick. Honestly don't believe that Kraft is. I don't believe any of the rumors that he's asking him to leave or he doesn't want him to be here next year. I just think that's all hearsay. And I think that the press, I put a video out about this too on our channel. The press is being insanely disrespectful to Bill Belichick this year. All right. Yeah. Insanely. I'm going to say this again. I understand asking one time about moving on, or even though it's not a question he's going to answer, but they're bombarding him with it, and it's weekly. It's embarrassing to me.
Well, it goes back to, we discussed this on an earlier episode when Miami and Kansas City went to Germany about the difference between the sensationalistic American sports press, again going back to sports radio and all this
gotcha
stuff.
Bullshit.
Exactly, versus people who are like, just talk to us about your schemes.
Yeah,
right?
I would love to ask Belichick right now about his schemes and about his playbook and why it's not working. That's actually what I'd want to know if I was a Patriots fan.
Yeah,
But you got to listen to you going.
right,
It's
right.
just like
Yeah,
guys, not to mention, I guarantee some of these reporters weren't even born when he started coaching the Patriots, much less coaching.
right.
Right? Like, I mean, I'm being nice by saying that because we started coaching, it was in the '80s. So
Mm,
it's just like it's one of those things, Ray. I just have a real issue with that mentality. It's okay to speculate to a point,
sure.
but you're asking me, and I'm telling you, I don't think he should go to any team. I think he should take a year off. He is always going to be hired on the spot if he wants
Yeah,
to coach somewhere. If he went to the Niners right now and said, "I want to coach this team," they would take him. All right.
right.
So he's not going to do that, by the way. But my point is that no, he should take a year off if he doesn't want to be there. I think it probably is time to move from New England. I wish he had done that when Brady did. I think
Mm,
that would have been the time to do it, or taking
yeah.
the year off. But no, I don't think he's going to the Chargers. I just don't. I also think I also think. Listen, would you hire a coach with a record like his right now? Like I know who he is, but it's like there's other coaches out there. I just talked about that Saleh. I mean, like there's other coaches out there that arguably would be a better fit right now than him. So
It depends. It depends because
yeah,
he also recognized the roster issues with New England, understanding that he's the one who put that roster together.
well, that's my point.
And I think but I think
Yeah,
that's the thing is I think you go to Bill and be like, look, you come, you're not the GM here. You're not the
there's
guy pulling the
no
trigger,
way that
right?
he's gonna like be okay in that scenario, and that's what I'm trying to say. It's like you want to deal with. I'm not saying this in a mean way towards Belichick. You want to deal with that. You want to be a GM dealing with that. Like you think he's not going to come in your office and tell you exactly what to do? So
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. He's got to take a year off. All right. Maybe it's time for him to pick a GM or a coach. Maybe he's a GM. Maybe he doesn't need to coach anymore. I don't know.
I think he's more a coach than he is a
I
GM.
think he is one of the greatest coaches in the history of the NFL. I'm not
Oh,
just talking about
absolutely.
not just talking Super Bowls. I think just as a coach, I think he
Yeah.
knows more about the positions than anybody. I think he loves the game more than anybody.
I
All
I
right.
agree with that.
All right.
I
But
think it's going to be
yeah.
interesting to see what
Yeah.
I agree, what he decides to do. We know he's hinted at he wants Don Shula's record,
Yeah.
right?
Of course.
He's about 23 wins away from that, both
Yeah.
combined playoffs and regular season.
Take a year off.
So, but yeah, well, that's the question. That's the
Yeah.
thing is that does he go somewhere else just to chase the record and
Well,
get it done in 3 years?
let
Because
me
he's in his 70s now. He's not getting any younger.
no, that's true. But let me tell you why taking a year off is really important. Because right now we're talking about one team he could potentially go to. You take your
Hmm.
year off, it's going to be at least 15 teams that will take you,
Sure.
right? At
Sure.
least 15. It's probably more like, probably 20. So
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I think he needs to do. All right. That's if he chooses not to coach New England, he might not leave New England. Like I think
It's
it's
also
severely
possible.
real. Yeah.
Robert Kraft and him can talk in the offseason and it's
Yeah.
water under the bridge.
Yeah,
Who
but
knows?
if you think Robert Kraft, for those of you, those media people, you really think Kraft is leaking to the press that Belichick's got to go? You think that's the level of respect he has for that guy? I just think that's just heresy. It's BS,
Yeah.
right? I just doubt that that's happening. All right, and just I want to say that I say it every week. Do a better job. You could be asking him real football questions right now, and you know what? He would answer them. He answers when you ask him a good football question. He answers it.
Yes.
But now you've created another soundbite for me. We're on to Kansas City. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm worried about Kansas City. I'm moving on to Kansas City.
Well, they already lost to Kansas City, so they're
We're
on.
moving on. We're still moving on to Kansas City.
Yeah. Maybe that's why they keep losing. He's one game behind.
No, I know they did lose. What was it was
Yes.
a lively game too.
It was. The Patriots actually showed some life with Bailey Zappi under center, but again, some bad turnovers, some inclement weather, and Kansas City. Kansas City continues to have a problem with the dropsies, especially Kadarius Toney. The receiver core has the most drops in the league this year, and Mahomes is starting to show his frustration a lot more on the sideline. It is becoming obvious, like it is like this isn't a week one thing where it's like, oh, it's not a big deal, it's one game. Now we're 14 games in. And like I just mentioned, it is the worst receiving core in the league,
Yeah.
and Mahomes is not happy. Again, look, the Chiefs are going to win the division. They're going to make the playoffs. Like they're all set. But this is a very vulnerable Chiefs team, particularly because the offense is far underperforming what they usually do for both a Mahomes team and an Andy Reid team.
Well, and we saw Mahomes on the sideline. Someone did the mouth reading stuff.
Yes.
And he's visibly saying, which is not good for their team, but he's visibly saying, I don't trust the guy. I don't want to throw to the guy. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, but look, again, like the Eagles, I mean, it's a great place to be, you know, right now for that. Again, it's, you know, we're talking about the best teams and you got to figure it out. I mean, I just don't think outside the Miami Dolphins going undefeated, there's ever been a team that didn't run into some adversity. I'm sure they had plenty of adversity, especially in the 70s when they were all on cocaine. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that, yeah, you got to, this is how a sports season works.
Yeah.
You run into problems, you fix those problems, you deal with the adversity, you jump the hurdles, and then maybe you've got a small ass chance of winning the big game at the end of the frickin' season. It's part of the process. This is why coaching is such an awesome profession. It's why I love it, because every day there's a new challenge, a new hurdle, something I have to overcome as a coach with my teammates, with the players, together. You schmucks. Nobody is perfect the whole season. It's okay to discuss it like we do on this show. I love having the conversations. What I can't stand is this it's over attitude when one game or 3 games in a row don't work in your favor. There's only one team in the league with a better record than the Eagles, and we're freaking out. Like, calm down. Mike, you know what I always think about this time of year, Ray? I mean this. You know what I think about this time of year? I think about the teams that are just in hell. Like, because Eagles, like, we're in hell. We lost 3 games in a row. No, go look at the standings. Go look at the bottom 10 teams. All right? They're in hell. I'm going to say it again. The Giants are relying on Italian wisdom right now just so they got something to watch.
Yeah.
All right? And you all know it. All you Giants fans know you have no freaking shot at anything this year, but you needed something. And there's nothing more Jersey and New York than the Italian Hall of Fame that none of you knew existed before the last couple games. Be practical with your sports and you'll enjoy them more. My name's Lee Elias. I'm a coach for hire. You can call me at any time.
Lee's driving the bus this week.
Oh, no, I'm not. This isn't a bus. This isn't a bus. I'll figure out what vehicle I'm using. I'm not running over fans. I mean, I Ray, you know this. I appreciate fans. I mean, I live on fans. My businesses are built on the fan basis, right? But I'm also like a logic and in an illogical world, Ray. And that's why we have a show that's illogical, so I can balance it out.
Because we are logical on our illogical show.
Wow.
Yes. We'll go talk about that later too.
I love leaving the little hints. I love leaving little hints in the show.
Yeah, no, yeah, we got a big show for you.
We got to get past football.
Yeah, we got right into football. I mean, the thing is, there's a lot going on with football.
It's football season. It's
the playoff race is tightening in the AFC. You've got 5 teams.
I mean, how great is that? How great is that? I mean, like that's again, there's a difference between being a fan of one team and like a fan of the sport. Like I'm a football fan. I'm an Eagles fan, but I love football. So it's like I like, of course I wish we were undefeated, but like that's not logical thinking. Right? We're going to have to earn it. I mean, Ray, how many times have you seen a team come in first, somewhat of an easy season, and they go out in the first round, Boston Bruins? How many times have you seen this?
A lot.
It's like nobody learns.
Yeah.
All right? You know the team that wins, the one that has snot coming out of their nose and blood coming out of their eyes because they're fighting for it every week. That's the team that wins.
Yeah.
Anyway, my name's Lee Elias, and I am a sports addict.
So we got 5 teams in the AFC tied at 8-6 for 3 playoff spots.
Yeah.
The Jaguars had a really bad loss against Baltimore. They could have beat Baltimore this week, but they shot themselves in the foot several times. And now you have a 3-way tie in the AFC South. The Jaguars, the Colts, and the Texans. Meanwhile, the Bengals, with their backup quarterback in Browning, they knock off the Vikings. And the Bills stomped Dallas up in Buffalo, showing Dallas's big weakness, which is Dallas can't win on the road. Dallas really struggles on the road this year. And
By the way, all the Dallas fans right now are like over the moon. They feel like they won this week, even though they didn't win. But that's a Dallas
yeah,
thing to do.
yes. Well, no, they were feeling terrible
Yeah,
until Philadelphia lost.
right.
And
Now
then they
now
felt a
they're
lot
great
better.
because they
Right,
thrive on other
exactly.
teams lose.
So,
Come at me,
Lee,
Dallas.
who's going to win the South? The Jags, the Texans, or the Colts? The numbers say the Jags just because of strength of schedule. And the Texans and Colts play each other in the last week of the season.
I picked the Jags because I think they have a little bit better of a storyline. Like I think they have more of a reason to win than those other teams, but you never know.
No, for sure. I mean, a lot of folks, obviously the Texans, hopefully CJ Stroud comes back next week from his concussion. That's obviously the big storyline there. That'd be a great story to see them turn it around instantly. And again, the Ravens right now are kind of running away, potentially running away with the conference. The Ravens and Dolphins meet in 2 weeks. Should both those teams win next week, Baltimore, a huge test against San Francisco on Christmas, and the Dolphins versus the Cowboys. You could have, I mean, I could very realistically actually see San Fran winning that game and Miami beating Dallas. And then really the AFC #1 seed comes down to that week 17 matchup.
It is going to come down to the last weeks. I mean, obviously with it that tight, but
Yeah.
I would like to see the Jags win. I mean, there's a fan base again, been in hell for too long.
Yeah.
Right.
I would
But
like to see
there's
the
another team
Jags win
3
the
losses
division.
in a row, right? They've just lost 3 in a row. So
Yeah, they're really struggling right now. Absolutely. And yeah, and then again, and there's also a logjam now in the NFC. You've got 5 teams at 7-7 for 3 playoff spots. Thankfully, it is good to see teams actually at least at 500.
yeah,
For a long time, we had people in the playoff spots below 500, but the Rams continue to string together wins. Again, the Seahawks with the upset win over the Eagles, and then the Saints and Bucks also won this week. The Saints destroyed the Giants, and the Bucks went up to Lambeau Field. And I've been saying this for years, and everybody thinks I'm crazy. Baker Mayfield's a pretty decent quarterback. He went up to Green Bay, and he's the first visiting quarterback in history to have a perfect passer rating at Lambeau Field. I don't know, folks. I don't see a lot of scrubs doing that, like, ever.
No,
So,
I never thought he was a bad quarterback. I think, again, this is another media made up thing. I think he's a solid quarterback. You put him in the right system with the right coach, he's going to succeed.
yeah. It's like, it's not his fault he struggled in Cleveland,
right,
of all places.
well, and he did pretty well there.
To be fair, he took them to the second round of the playoffs,
yeah,
and then everybody's like, why? He got hurt. Why are they bad? It's like, well, because your quarterback's hurt. The next year, he busted his shoulder. It's like, well, why can't he throw? Because his shoulder is hurt. But that's Cleveland.
We got to stop bringing logic. We got to stop.
Yeah. Now they're on their 4th quarterback. They brought Joe Flacco out of retirement, who, to be fair, it's been a great story watching him have a Fountain of Youth-esque resurgence. Final football story, though, before we move on.
Before we speed through the rest of sports.
Yeah. Big thing, DeMonte Casey, the safety for the Steelers. Colts beat the Steelers. Steelers are in a downward spiral. They're down to 7-7. Lost the big game to the Colts. Colts are 8-6 on Saturday football. This was a big deal because, again, it's a big player safety thing. Michael Pittman Jr. diving over the middle for a ball, got laid out by Casey, and a lot of folks. There's people are very, very split. First off, if you haven't seen it, the only reason why they keep showing the hit is because Michael Pittman somehow, although he did go into concussion protocol, got up on his own power, walked off on his own power, seemed fine. He did miss the rest of the game, but considering how bad it looked, I mean, Rich Eisen, who was doing play-by-play for the game, said after the game, he's like, I thought we were going to have another ambulance on the field situation in terms of watching the hit in real time. But a lot of folks are... the league decided then, not only in case he got ejected from the game, which is the right call in that moment, but the league decided to suspend Casey indefinitely for the season. And I know I disagree with that. And actually, a lot of football players, including ex-players like Tom Brady, have come out and critical of the league for that, because if you look at the play, it's just really an unfortunate circumstance, right? Gardner Minshew overled his receiver, threw a ball that we talk about it all the time. It's like sometimes the quarterback puts the receiver in as much danger as a corner or anybody on defense ever does. The ball was overthrown. Pittman dove for it. Casey also made a play for the ball and to make a play. And because Pittman was basically horizontal when he tried to make the catch, and KZ went down low. His head hit KZ's shoulder. Should he have been ejected? Was it a personal foul? Yes. Was it one that we've seen much worse hits this year that have led to much shorter suspensions? I do not think this hit was nearly as bad, again, given the circumstances, as the league's penalty for it. Lee, what do you think of the hit? What do you think of the league's reaction? Is this just because it does seem to have been, there have been a lot of these kind of hits to the head this year, more so than in previous years, just kind of flukishly, and Casey got dinged? Obviously, the Steelers fighting for a playoff spot. This is going to hurt them in the long term, or in the short term, the rest of the year. I think it was really more of a just unfortunate timing more than it was. I don't think there was a lot of intent behind the hit. I really don't. But what are your thoughts?
I just think the NFL is entering into another era of the calls are inconsistent, the rulings are inconsistent. Whereas, a few years ago they had this problem and they kind of loosened some of the rules and made it so that it wasn't like every single action in a game had to be reviewed. But we're heading back that way now, like where some things are obvious and not being called. Whereas there's things like they said they're gonna crack down on certain penalties, and they have. But even with a suspension like this, it's like, oh, we gotta send a message, and it's like,
Right.
these guys aren't stupid. Like, they're not children. In some ways, they are. Don't get me wrong. They're playing a children's game, but
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's like the way the NFL looks at things like this, and it's not just the NFL. It's really all sports leagues and big businesses. Who's going to care in 5 years? We make the point, it eliminates the problem, and who cares in 5 years? And that's how these decisions get made sometimes. And here's the thing, they're not wrong. I hate to say that, but they're not wrong. Who's going to care in 1 year, 2 years about that? Right? They've changed it. They sacrificed the lamb, and it improves the game, and in from their eyes. So a little cold, but that's how business decisions get made sometimes.
That's fair. It's fair. By the way, speaking of cold, I just realized we're talking about Giants Eagles, or we were earlier. We're not going to be around next week because next week is Christmas. So, which doesn't matter for Lee, but it matters for me.
No. We celebrate Christmas in my house.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
I'm teasing.
Yes. Happy Hanukkah. Now that's over, everybody. Appreciate you.
Yeah. But yeah, we're gonna be off for at least 1 week, maybe two. Because then after that is New Year's. So we may be back.
You better savor this episode because it might be the last one you get for a little bit. No. Yeah, we'll be back after the New Year, after the holidays. It's just gonna be we'll let you know. We'll do a programming alert across our pages.
Yes. No. So again, we're talking about all the playoff pictures, everything we're talking about now, but next time we get back, we might have we're going to have a solid, hopefully much more solidified idea of where everybody is and what's going on.
Different world in 2 weeks.
And I'll hopefully have cooled off by the time the Giants got demolished by the Eagles by then.
Well, listen, you're going to have other content to hold you over. We're going to Ray's going to be doing his top 10 games of the year. So that's going to be some content you can look forward to. Maybe we'll have another mashup in there. We'll do a quick one, but there'll be stuff to look forward to. And of course, if you follow us across the network, Geeks Who Like Sports, GWLS podcast on Instagram, find us on YouTube. There's plenty of content that's going to keep coming out that's going to keep you warm this holiday season, with or without the Geeks Who Like Sports in your lives. I'm Lee Elias. I do professional voiceover work for Ray Carcillo. Actually, don't hire me. Hire him, please. Thank you.
Yeah. Hire both of us. Both of us.
That's fine. Fine. You convinced me.
There you go. So there, yeah. But yeah, so there's just a quick heads up there because I was just thinking, oh yeah, we're talking about Eagles Giants, and I'm like, oh, we're not going to be able to analyze that game next week because
we might be back after the next Eagles Giants game after that.
Right? Yeah, exactly. The next
3 weeks from now.
Yeah. So they're so nice. They're doing it twice in 3 weeks. Yeah, but yeah. So there you go. So just a heads up there. So that's it for football.
We should let people live listen to our phone calls during that game.
Yes,
that'd be really entertaining. Oh my God! No! Are you on delay? Oh my God! Wait till you see what happens.
Yeah, I'm usually on like a 30-second delay because I'm on Sling TV. So, oh goodness. But anyway, you know what's also going to be delayed? Shohei Ohtani.
That's a good segue.
Thank you. So we discussed last week. We were suspecting that we had heard that Shohei Ohtani was going to have some of his payments deferred. And honestly, not surprised. Again, he signed a $700 million contract. The numbers finally came out, though, since our last episode. And this is what was shocking, is that in a historic move, 97% of his contract is going to be deferred. He's only going to be paid $2 million of the $70 million owed to him every year for the next 10 years. And then we'll get $68 million a year every year after that, which will save the Dodgers about $25 million a year, the way it works out with the CBA and all that, towards the luxury tax. Technically, by the letter of the law and the most recent CBA, which will expire in 2026, the Dodgers did nothing wrong. But this is one of those instances where they went by the letter of the law and not the spirit of the law. And Lee, I don't know about you, but I think that they're going to try and rewrite this law after the 2026 CBA expires. But what are your thoughts on the Dodgers finding the loophole, the golden loophole, to get Shohei Ohtani on their team?
Well, I go a lot of different directions with it, Ray. I think you're right. They didn't technically do anything wrong. The spirit of it is absolutely wrong, as you eloquently put it. Look, the other thing they've done is they put themselves in a position that they could sell this team by the time that comes around, and then someone else has to deal with it, right? And they could have won 3 or 4 World Series by that point. So really, from a business standpoint, pure business, it's genius. And I think you're going to see a lot of teams doing something like this now over the next few years that are especially in a position to potentially win the World Series. The problem with it, I mean, there's a few things. I mean, one is you kind of cheat yourself a little bit into creating a better roster, which I would have a problem with if I was the owner of another team or GM of another team.
Yeah.
With the greatest player in baseball, $2 million a year. That's manipulation in a lot of ways, right? Now again, he eventually will get paid out. Don't get me wrong, but that's brutal. That's brutal to me. And then the other one too is like the taxes. And again, look, I don't trust any politician with our money, to be perfectly honest with you. But that amount of money in taxes, that supports the people of California. I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think about that, right? It's like, okay, and then it's baseball, and this guy has a right to his money. What happens when that deferment ends? Does that go towards their luxury tax, or does it?
No. So that's the thing
That's
is
the
that
loophole, right? Like that's
right.
insane. That's an unbelievable
Yeah.
loophole. I mean, how
That's
they
why.
even
So
let that in? That's
well,
horrible.
and that's the thing is, again, it's technically by the letter of the law correct, but I don't think that was the spirit of the law. And it's one of those things. It's one of those things, Lee. Remember the Sean Avery rule, right? Where like until somebody does it or thinks to do it, you don't think that you have to write it down.
Right.
And so I really think that the
Just
31
brutal.
other owners in 2026, when the CBA comes up, are going to go to the Dodgers and be like, you got away with it. We're never letting this happen again.
You got away with it. You will probably win World Series because of it.
Right.
And it's like, what are I would have loved to have been the person. It's like guaranteed, like if we win 2 World Series over the next 6 years, 7 years, like it's worth $4 billion.
Right.
What's a few hundred million?
Right.
And you're dealing with, and that's exactly how they look at these things, right? Like,
yes.
Like, that is a multi-billion-dollar franchise. You win a couple World Series in LA, you've made your money back.
Yeah.
So interesting. If I was a player, I'd be like, oh, this is going to change how everything's done.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, and that's the thing is that now you're going to see for the next 2 years, like you said, I think you're going to see other teams try to jump through this loophole now.
Yeah.
While they can.
And I'll also say, if you want to know why Ohtani agreed to this, well, A, how much money do you need to survive? All right, I think 2 million is plenty. Right. The endorsements alone.
Well, endorsements, he gets a chunk, he gets a slice of merchandising, like he gets all of that. So it's all of that stuff.
He might be worth $1 billion by the time this is all done. I mean, he really may be worth $1 billion, that guy.
Yeah.
And from while I don't agree with athletes getting paid what they get paid, for what he can do, that's not wrong. I mean, he's I mean, again, 700 million, he's not that far off.
No,
it's not his net worth, but wow.
I mean, and they did say 1% of the contract every year will go to various Dodger charities, which is $700,000, and that's definitely not something to scoff at. But
No, it is with a contract that big. It is.
Yeah.
That is something to scoff at with a contract that big.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Thank you for the 1%, Shohei. You are now the 1%, Shohei. Congratulations. Yes. You are beyond the 1%.
Now you're in the 0.01% now.
Yeah,
the 1% is not what people think it is. It's not what the people think it is, but the top 1% of earners or the top 10% of earners in this country is not what you think it is most of the time. You should look that up. Now, with that said, you should also look up the median household income of America. It will shock you.
Yeah. We need to get that number up. In my opinion. But yeah, no. So yeah, it's just ridiculous, and I think baseball. I do think baseball will correct this in the next CBA.
Yeah, they will. I mean, we've seen this across the board. It's tough to swallow as a business person. It's also genius as a business person.
That's the thing. It's like you both hate it and respect them for it. Yeah. Like it's really weird. So, but anyway, we'll see what happens. Not a lot of other baseball news going on.
Wait.
Everybody's kind of waiting for the Yamamoto news.
We also did say that we called this. I just want to make that clear.
We said he was going to defer some of it. We just had no idea it was going to be 97%.
Yeah. Anyway, keep going. Baseball.
Yeah. So baseball again. We're waiting now. A lot of stuff in baseball. Everybody's waiting for the Yamamoto deal to see if it's going to be a Yankee. Right now, knock on wood, rumors is that the Yankees are still the favorites for him. Dodgers are probably his second choice.
Dodgers Mets going all out to get him too. Apparently, Ohtani and several of the players were in the room when he was there.
Yes, and the Phillies have thrown their hat into the ring very late on him as well. Bryce Harper gave him a phone call over the weekend to try to get him to possibly consider Philadelphia. But most are saying that if Philly would probably be, no offense, his fourth choice of the people he's talked to.
Depends on what he wants to achieve.
Yes. And Steve Cohen of the Mets had him to his Connecticut mansion for dinner. Mr. Hedge Fund billionaire. And there's been conflicting reports. Some said that Yamamoto was very impressed. And then there were some folks who said that Yamamoto was disgusted. As a Yankee fan, I like to hope that he was disgusted. Because, I don't know if
when and who and where would they get that quote from? This is one of those things again, right? It's like, there's no way that guy told anyone anything like that on either side. My God, the press is relentless. And
I know. Well, the thing is
there's no way he came out and was like, I was disgusted by the road. That doesn't happen.
No, I know. I personally hope he was disgusted.
We can daydream about it. Yeah.
But
like, I heard this. No, where'd you hear that from? Who told you that?
Sources.
Who are the sources? What page? Did you?
Well, they can't. Remember, they're not gonna give up their sources. But
that's horrible.
They gotta write something. They gotta fill airtime somehow.
Gotta write something, man. Write about the sport, you schmucks.
Unbelievable. Anyway, speaking of, I was gonna call him a schmuck, but he had a really great game up in Boston this weekend. A lot of folks were getting on Igor Shesterkin for the Rangers in hockey after dropping 2 tough games. He got lit up by Toronto. To be fair, Toronto has been lighting everybody up lately. They have gone on an offensive explosion. And he lost 2 in a row. It's the first time all year the Rangers lost 2 in a row. And people, calm down, Ranger fans. The sky is not, as a Ranger fan, the sky is not falling. We're 21-7-1. We are tied with Boston. I technically had the tiebreaker, but we are tied with Boston for the best record in the Eastern Conference after beating Boston in overtime. But a lot of folks are starting to wonder, and this was actually my suggestion. Actually, in Peter Laviolette, I actually felt good. I was saying I looked like Igor might still be a little sluggish after his injury. And I was saying that maybe they should give Quick maybe just 2 starts in a row to let Igor kind of catch his breath again. And what happened, Lee? Quick started 2 games in a row. And then Igor looked lights out against Boston, up in Boston in a thrilling 2-1 victory. Mm-hmm. But Lee, it is interesting that I guess there's a goalie controversy in New York because Jonathan Quick is 9-0-1 as the backup.
You got to define what controversy means. Controversy to me, as a goaltending controversy, is one of them is upset at the other.
Well, there's definitely not that.
That is a goaltending controversy. What you definitely have in New York is just great goaltending.
Yeah,
that's it, right? Here's the thing, man. People look at Quick like, throw him in more. No, he's not. He is the backup for a reason because of his age.
Yeah.
He is the perfect guy to come in every 3 to 4 games and play really well. He's also the perfect guy to remind Shesterkin you are replaceable. Okay? This is something that they never found for Lundqvist, ever.
Right.
Ever. And he desperately needed it. I hate to say it. Okay, so no, you have no goaltending controversy. You have great goaltending. If you look at NHL Stanley Cup champions the past few years, there have been a duo of goaltenders that could succeed, not one. This is not the 1990s where you had to have a starter. It is old thinking to think that you just need one starter that's lights out. It's not possible. The days of Brodeur and Waugh and Lundqvist are gone. The game has changed. And having a great second goalie, I don't even want to call him the backup, is an asset. And trust me, there are 32 teams in the league. 31 of them would give anything for a second goalie with that record.
Yes.
That's 20 points.
Yeah.
20 points he's brought the Rangers.
Yeah.
All right. So, no, you are in a very good position. There's no controversy. Shesterkin will figure it out. I said this before in the episode. Shit happens during a season. You've got to deal with it. The Rangers are dealing with it.
Yes, and they are dealing with it. Injuries and all of that. They are taking it in stride. They are finding, again, the Rangers all year. Again, it's very early. We're only at the 30-game mark. Tonight they play their 30th game against Toronto. They're finding different ways to win every night. And yeah, it's. I mean, look, even Louis Domingue had to play a game and got a win. For the Rangers when Shesterkin and Quick got hurt.
Yeah, I think we're also underestimating the team here that's in front of them as well, who is a very good team. Like you can look at Quick's
the
record
Rangers
and say,
defense.
Like, oh, he's great. No, the Rangers are great. They are a great team. You put a great team in front of mediocre goaltending, they're going to look great.
Yeah.
You happen to have great goaltending and a great team and a real chance at winning something this year.
Oh, please. Oh, please.
No, I don't think I could deal with the Rangers winning before the Flyers. We'll see what happens. Yeah, that'd be too much for me.
I could. I would love to see that happen.
This is not a show called, What Ray Wants.
But it's not just what I want, it's what I need. Lee,
you don't need any more championships. You don't need you want them, but you don't need them like other places need them.
Well, you know what? Other places can win in other sports now or whatever. The Lions can go win the Super Bowl. Let the Lions win the Super Bowl this year. There you go. Detroit can have a Super Bowl.
All hail the Giants of New York. New York City of champions.
We'll win the Super Bowl next year. Somebody else is going to win it this year. So.
You want championships. You don't need them like other places need them. In 2008, I needed
but other places don't know what they need if they've never had it before.
That's true. That's true. Jacksonville.
Yeah, well, Jacksonville's never going to get one. So
and now you've just now they're going to win the Super Bowl because you said that.
Not this year. Not this year. Not as long as Tony Khan is still splitting his attention between AEW and NFL. We'll get to that later.
Very good point.
But yeah, before that, and actually, speaking of AEW airs on TNT. Speaking of TNT and NHL and Lee. Aside from Gretzky, that TNT crew sucks. I mean, look, there's no other way to sit. We were talking about this a few games ago. I was watching the post game after the Rangers had beat the Red Wings. It was the national game on TNT that night. And it was like game 21. So it was 8 or 9 games ago. And they're talking about the Oilers who had been struggling without McDavid. McDavid's obviously come back and the Oilers have gotten red hot again. And they're like, what do the Oilers have to do to get into the playoffs? Lee, this is after game number 20. My response? Play 60 more freaking games.
What?
Why are we talking about playoffs?
Playoffs?
Are we talking playoffs? Playoffs? TNT has a real problem not knowing what the heck to do with their NHL broadcast. And you had an issue with one Mr. Bissonnette this week, or whatever his name is.
Yeah, Paul Bissonnette.
Yeah. Wait, how about you get into? I think we're both going to put some folks in front of the bus on this one.
Just look. So here's the thing. Gretzky is great. He does a great job on there. He brings a lot of calm to it. TNT is clearly just trying to replicate their basketball camaraderie, which cannot be replicated with the guys that they have on that basketball staff because they have Hall of Famers across the board on that staff.
Yeah, you need more than just Gretzky on NHL in order to get that kind of vibe.
And look, when Lundqvist is on broadcast, it's pretty good too. But
Yeah.
I just think that what the NHL did is, we need to bring some personality and some character. Let's look at who's doing personality. Oh, Paul Bissonnette's got the top hockey podcast in the market. Let's bring him on. And look, look, he has a voice in the game. He has a power in the game with his position right now. If he was here, he'd say, nobody knows who you are. Like, that's just the way he is.
Mm-hmm.
But he has said some pretty disgusting things over the last few years on his podcast. And he openly rages war against hockey fans. And it's all for ratings. And it's all to charge people up. And I don't get it.
It's the same as the media. It's the
Yeah.
sensationalistic bullshit.
I don't get it. I don't think he's a great representation of the game. I think he really actually helps the toxic side of the game a little bit. I'm not talking about racism or anything like that. I'm just talking about like the dude bro culture. Like I just think he brings that out, and that's not really what hockey needs right now. I need to be moving beyond that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't think his insights, I mean, I didn't play in the NHL. He did for a few games, but I don't think he brings much to that panel. I think he's kind of like the laughing boy of the panel.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that that guy, with the things that he says and the influence he has, and the fact that he's sitting next to Wayne Gretzky,
Yeah.
bugs me, right? Who should be sitting next to Wayne Gretzky? Mark Messier, all right?
Yeah.
Peter Forsberg. You could pick a lot of people from the last 30 years of the game that could be sitting next to Wayne Gretzky that I would listen to.
Lemieux, Yager.
Sakic. I mean, I could go on for a while, all right?
Yeah.
And again, it's not so much about the personality for me. I think I'll give you one. PK Subban does a great job of personality. He brings a lot. You want a Norris Trophy? Guy knows what he's talking about. I like watching PK. He brings a lot of fun to the broadcast. I don't understand what Paul Bissonnette brings to these broadcasts outside a little bit of, shock jock type things. And again, I think the level at which he disrespects NHL fan bases, even ones you and I don't like, Ray, it's a little disrespectful.
No, I agree. I don't know, like to me, he doesn't, like he said, he's just kind of a weird dude bro that just stands out amongst that panel in the worst way. Yeah. And again, it's like you said, like TNT, they just don't get it. They just don't get it.
Well, it's you do have to fill airtime, but it's like, I just remember growing up, there was so much better broadcasting. Like, you would talk about the hockey being played and you could learn from it too, not just the buzzwords and the buzz topics. I don't know. It's just always looking for sound bites. You know what I mean? And like sometimes he's on the air and I'm like looking at the guy and I'm like, you don't look right. Like something's wrong with you right now. I don't want to speculate too much on that. But anyway, we'll see what happens. I actually think ESPN's doing a pretty good job now. As I said, when they got the rights back to Hockey Night, it's like, give it some time. Let them figure it out. I think they're doing okay. They're doing better than TNT is.
Here's the funny thing is that the in-studio segments for ESPN are better, but I like TNT's play-by-play teams better.
Oh, I could. Yeah. Well, I'm only talking, by the way. Yeah, I'm only talking studio stuff right now.
No, ESPN studio stuff is much better.
I'm a huge fan of John Buccigross. I've always have been. A lot of people
I like Bucci for sure. Yeah. For sure, but look, I'm sorry, I've never been a huge fan of Sean McDonough. I didn't like when he was a football guy. I don't like he was a hockey guy. Right. I don't think he's a great play-by-play guy. I am available, ESPN.
He's pretty good at hockey play-by-play.
So, just
trusty color commentator Lee.
Yes, yeah. So I mean, it's just one of those things where it's just like, whereas we're obviously like, Kenny Albert. And whatnot is just, to me, still one of the best around. Obviously does the radio for the Rangers most of the times when Don LaRicca's not doing it, or vice versa. I should say Don's doing it when Kenny's not doing it. And then Kenny, of course, is doing all the national games for a lot of the national games for TNT, and I think he does a great job.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, but the TNT studio segments, awful. Maybe busworthy, awful. But anyway, you know who else? You know who probably wishes they got hit by a bus?
Who?
The San Antonio Spurs and the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah,
because that is like we've talked about this before, the lack of parity in the NBA, and this is just another startling example The Spurs, even after getting the number 1 pick this year, and obviously Wembayana is going to, I think that's how you say his name. I'm so sorry if that's not, is going to become a star and whatnot. He's got shades of young Tim Duncan and whatnot. That franchise will turn around. But the Spurs had an 18-game losing streak earlier this year. The Pistons are in the middle of a 24-game losing streak. They started 2-1. They haven't won a game since the first week of the season. It's the first time in NBA history that there have been 2 teams at the same time were going on, had 15-plus game losing streaks. They are easily both at the bottom. I mean, at this point, the Spurs, again, are going to be at the top of the lottery, as are the Pistons. I mean, the Spurs could have the number 1 pick in back-to-back years, which could lead to another dynasty in the next couple of years, because that's how fast things can turn around in the NBA. But right now, the again, lack of parity between the top and the bottom of the league, it's startling. I mean, I think there was a riot in Detroit, I believe, not because the Lions are on the verge of clinching their first division in 30 years, but because the Pistons, again, 24 in a row they've lost, Lee. What's going on with the NBA?
This has been going on in the NBA for years, right? The parity is not there, right?
It seems like it's only getting worse. It's getting
only,
worse, not better.
It is getting worse. And again, look, a lot of this is because great players migrate to certain teams. And the NBA has always been stuck in this pattern where the big market teams have to come through. Outside Toronto, Ray, like what champions have there been? I'm thinking Toronto, Milwaukee. I mean, Denver's not a small market.
No.
But like what champions?
But they all have superstars, right? They are still
right.
teams with superstars.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. It's either you're in a big market or you've created a super team to win this thing. And it's just, they got to create some rules where that either can't happen or we got to develop better basketball players. I don't know what else to say. Right. So look, it's weird to hear things like Spurs and Pistons with losing streaks because those are basketball royalty franchises, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like this is not a parity in the league. I don't care if you're Pop, Coach Pop here. Like, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you don't have the talent.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. And remember, please do not boo. That's not what we do here. Popovich knows.
Well, there wasn't a lot of boos last night in Los Angeles as the Lakers raised their midseason banner. Well, there was at some of the end of the game, but I'll get to that in a second. The Lakers raised the midseason banner. Some folks made fun of it. We both discussed this last night. Really don't have an issue with it.
No, I love the way that they did it, like a high school banner, where they can add years to it. They're not going to add a new banner every time they win. They have the one banner, and they're going to add years as they win. I think that is the perfect solution to the whole thing.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I just got a massive craving for a grilled cheese sandwich, and I can't have it, Ray, because we're on the air, and I can't eat cheese. But I just wanted to share that. That seemed like a real Geek Who Like Sports type of thing to say.
I didn't have lunch yet today, so I feel you there. So
like the one where you toast the bread so nicely you can drag a knife and it makes that cool sound. That's yeah. Let's just all take a moment listening to the show. Think about that grilled cheese sandwich.
I go to a place called the Carving Board, and they do a buffalo chicken grilled cheese that is just phenomenal.
You can take pills, Ray, and they do work sometimes, but it's a lottery. You never know.
Yeah, and I get the tomato soup with it, so I can dunk the grilled cheese.
Yeah. We should get into culinary. We should have a Geeks menu.
A Geeks menu would be great.
Geeks Well, that'll be a future mashup. We're gonna make a real menu of food, the ultimate Geeks Like Sports menu.
I mean, we probably have like a lot of meat on there. Probably a lot of steaks and stuff.
Nice steak last night. It was good. We should get back to the show. I just wanted to let you know. I had a massive craving there out of nowhere.
I don't. That's it happens.
Podcasting.
I'm gonna probably have some steak next week. Probably.
I have steak. I love steak. S&P is the way for me.
Yeah, steak. Well, steak and mashed potatoes. I had some really great prime rib a few weeks ago, actually, when I went to Vegas.
We should have our annual meeting in Kentucky. We're halfway point and eat.
Ooh, barbecue.
Yeah. That was our sponsor, Lee and Ray's Cookbook, coming to you soon, 2027.
If any restaurant wants to sponsor us,
Golden Corral.
Any real restaurant wants to sponsor us,
Sizzler.
A little better, but anyway,
I don't even know that exists.
Yeah, the one good thing about the Lakers, the one thing about the Lakers last night is that even though they raised the mid-season banner, the Knicks beat them, which was nice. They beat them by 5. So the Knicks spoiled the banner raising ceremony. The Knicks are 4 games above 500, and as we kind of said, the Knicks are a middle of the road team. They continue to be a middle of the road team. I think they're the 7 seed. If there were the playoff brackets right now, they're middle of the road. But
The Knicks are who we thought they were.
Yes, exactly. Couple last basketball stories. A bunch of big babies in basketball. First off, before we get to the big baby, the other big baby is Lee. What's wrong with Draymond Green? Because another guy who got, and this one understandably so, this is his 3rd suspension of the year. He's been suspended indefinitely now. He just cold cocked the guy. He just turned around and punched him and knocked him to the ground. And he's going to go for therapy now. And he has to pass like a whole therapy thing before he's allowed back into the league. And the team has to reinstate him, which I believe is the right move, is that he's not just going to be suspended. He also has to get help this time. But like, this was kind of an unbelievable development. Like, he's always had an edge to him. He's always been a great defender. Obviously, he's a world champion. But this seems to have like really gone off the rails very quickly in very recent years for Draymond Green.
Yeah, look, I don't ever assume to know what's going on in someone's life. Just something's going on in that guy's life. And I think he's taking the appropriate steps to get it taken care of, because in a normal world, that would be assault and you would be arrested.
Yes.
So, in sports, sometimes you get a free pass on assault. As we'll discuss later in the show.
I was going to say, we're going to get to that later.
Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you ruin your entire life. So yeah, look, I don't want to speculate about anything. I'm glad he's getting help. Something's wrong there.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I hope he straightens it out, because it's just really weird how suddenly it's gone completely off the rails for him. Another big baby, Giannis had a huge issue against the Pacers a few days ago. Basically, the Bucks destroyed the Pacers, and the Bucks, Giannis set the team franchise record, scored 64 points in a single game. That's a Bucks record. Amazing accomplishment. He wanted the game ball afterwards. The Pacers said they gave the game ball to one of their other players because it was that player's first NBA game. He made his first NBA bucket, and so that player had it. Giannis, I guess, stormed towards the Pacers locker room, demanded the ball. Nothing ended up coming of it, but it was just a really bad look for obviously one of the guys who really is considered one of the faces of the NBA right now. And look, in baseball, there's tons of baseballs. In football, there's tons of footballs. In hockey, there's tons of pucks. You guys don't have extra game balls in basketball that you can give the guy? Like, I don't know. Weird story coming. The NBA is just really weird right now after this mid-season stuff. We had a lot of fights in the court. We got a lot of the NBA is in a real weird spot here. We're only in the middle of December. Lee, what are your thoughts on Giannis crying about the game, not getting the game ball?
I don't. I'm going through the sports in my mind, and when there's an award-worthy scenario. Now I personally, I think you should only be looking for one award at the end of the season. It's the last thing they give out. That should be the only thing that matters. I'm not saying that individual awards don't matter. Okay. But in terms of what you should be pushing for, that's not what I'd ever be pushing for. So I think that's another problem with basketball to begin with, that people are focused on that. And every other sport I've ever played, Ray, when you do something monumental, the team gives you something, some sort of plaque or a silver or golden hockey stick. The ball doesn't matter. Now maybe, or the puck, but maybe there's a hidden thing here in his life where he's always collected those and that he wanted that for someone. I don't know. But my point is that to have a hissy fit about that. Yeah. Come on, man. Like, that's not why you're here. You're not here to break the season record, and you're here to win. You're here to win. I just think it's another problem within the NBA as a sport in general, is that we focus on these. And like, even like when you talk about the greatest of all time in basketball, it always how many MVPs, how many scoring titles. It comes down to championships every time for me. It's who has the most championships and help lead their team there. right? I'm not doing the Jordan debate alone right now. I'm just saying like that's what I look at. All right. Charles Barkley, one of the greatest basketball players in history, easily.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
even in the debate for best of all time. You know why? He didn't
Zero
win shit.
championships. Zero.
Yeah, it's like so if we're talking individual awards, you can say, well, that Wayne Gretzky was the greatest hockey player of all time because he is so far ahead of everybody else. He's got 4 cups to back it up. That's not the most cups all time. Henri Richard has, I think, 11 or 12. All right. He was pretty good. All right. But I don't know. I think this only helps to perpetuate the selfishness that we talk about with all basketball players. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
a little bit of a weird situation. I wish they also had not caught that on camera. This is something that could have been kept behind the scenes. But I mean, he kind of put it out there for him.
Well, and again, though, right? Like if somebody gets their first hit in baseball, they put the ball to the side. They get their first goal in hockey, they put the puck to the side. The guy got his first bucket. You didn't just think to put the ball to the side and get a different, like you don't. You only have one basketball. Like,
well, I don't think they have one basketball. I don't.
That's
what
I'm saying. Like, I don't know.
Understand.
It's just a weird thing all around.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's a stupid story. It's a stupid thing to be talking about. Why are we talking about stupid things?
Because we're part of the sensationalistic media now, Lee.
Oh my God, it's happened.
We're part of the problem. One last basketball, well, also a hockey story. It's official. The Wizards and Capitals are going to be moving to a new arena in Virginia in the next couple of years.
Northern Virginia. Very important.
Yes, Arlington, I believe.
Yes, where my brother lives.
Yes. A lot of folks, it's very mixed reactions.
It is a great move. It is a fantastic move. It is very hard to get to these stadiums sometimes in the city. Parking is a problem. It is a great move to move them out. It is not that far from DC. All right. Yes. Like you're talking a 20-minute metro ride. You know, it's nothing crazy here. I think it's going to flow traffic a lot better. There's no problem with this. This is exactly the Jets and the Giants playing in New Jersey.
I was just about to say it's the Jets and Giants playing in Jersey.
Yeah, and Virginia, good for them for getting something. It's not going to change them to the Virginia Capitals, the Virginia, I almost said Bullets, Wizards.
Yeah.
Almost went back in time 25 years there. All right. The real question, Ray, is will this spawn the Commanders to move to Virginia, which has really been the talk lately.
Yes. And the funny thing is actually they're saying from what I've heard, is they want to move them actually back into proper DC because they've kind of been on the outskirts from what I understand for a long time.
I've been to a few games over the last couple of years. I mean, like the other options, RFK Stadium, that land. But you know, a lot of it's going to come down to, and this is again the side of sports people don't like to talk about. It's not going to come down to, oh, is this proper DC? It's going to come down to the tax benefits and how much money you can make wherever you put that stadium. Now you put the football, you build a sports complex in Northern Virginia. You've opened the door now for everyone from the South to drive up. Whereas like, I don't want to drive up from mid Virginia or even Northern Virginia into Washington. I'll just watch from home. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think them moving there actually helps the Commanders' chances of moving to Virginia, but we'll see. Again, Northern Virginia. For those of you who don't know or don't live on this side of the country, Washington, D.C. is a very, very small district. It's not a state. It's not as big as this. Very small. Okay. It is a city that skirts around Maryland and Virginia. So we're not talking a lot of difference in time here.
Yeah. And producer Caitlin corrects me. It's Alexandria, which is just south of Arlington, but still very, very close.
It's very north of Virginia. Yes. There is a metro that goes there from the city. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Metro is the greatest train ever, in my opinion. I love it. I want everybody to know that's one of my geekdoms from my childhood is I love the Metro. Bing bong. Now they make a different sound, right? They go doot 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 doot. It's kind of like when New York was like Times Square, doors open right. Now it's like Times Square, stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Yeah, all the new subway trains. Yeah, I know. Goodness. Yeah. Hey, at least there is public transportation on the East Coast. Still don't have that here in LA. At least anything good anyway.
Well, you can't do anything underground.
They could. They just don't want to spend the money.
Monorail. Couldn't do that either.
Yeah. No, that would be devastating. They could. Again, then you have all the.
You have a better chance of drones carrying you around with that government than you have of anything logical happening.
Ooh, I would ride a drone.
I know
Actually, I
you
did that.
would.
I think on Watch Dogs 3, you get to ride a drone
I
across
could see
London.
you. I mean, listen, think about it. If everybody in California had a drone, if everybody in Los Angeles had a drone, and the big earthquake happened, you'd all be saved. You just go
Yeah, we'd
Jetsons.
be in the air.
Yeah, and then you'd look down and be like, where'd all the land go? Oh my God, it's like the movies, but we're alive. How much fuel do we have? We can make it to Santa Monica.
And suddenly we all invade Bakersfield, and well, then the shit really hits the fan at that point.
Just go either the north doesn't want you, so you go east, right? To the border.
Otisburg.
Superman 1, look it up if you don't know, youngins.
Yes, that's the whole idea. Is that basically the California the coastline would change?
It's a little place. It's a little place. Look that up if you don't know that. Otisburg on YouTube. Superman 1.
So good.
Not
so
Man of Steel. Superman 1.
Yes.
Superman.
Yes. Richard Donner.
Great film. It's why you have superhero movies now.
Yes.
It is. It's not. It wasn't Flash.
Christopher Reeve.
Gordon. It was Superman 1 is the reason you have Superman films today.
Yeah, no, it was the success. Superman was the first successful, really success. I mean, but be fair, the Adam West Batman was successful, but it was such a
Superman 1 is why we have superhero films today.
Yes, it was the first to be like,
Batman
we can do it as a franchise and we can do it seriously.
Yes. And then Tim Burton's Batman brought it to a whole nother level.
Yes.
And then Marvel did a film called Iron Man, which brought it to a whole nother level before it became tumbling down, which we'll talk about soon.
We're going to talk about that very soon.
Very
first,
soon.
really quickly.
I'm ready to get to the geek segment, but we have AEW wrestling we've got to talk about.
Yes, just really quickly talking about AEW. We mentioned TNT earlier. A lot of interesting things going on in the TV contracts for wrestling companies. WWE has said they're moving, that Fox is not renewing their contract with SmackDown, and that it's going to be picked up by USA. That NXT is going to CW, but we don't know where Monday night.
1996.
Yeah, no, we don't know where Monday Night Raw is going. And now there are rumors that TNT and TBS are not happy with the numbers that AEW is drawing, and that they may be approaching WWE to possibly bring wrestling there, and that AEW may get left out in the cold with their partners over at TNT and TBS.
Disney Plus.
I mean, the funny thing is that for a while now, AEW has been trying to get their stuff onto Max, but for whatever reason, they have been hesitant to pull the trigger on that.
We know why, because Max sucks.
Well, yes, Warner Brothers Discovery is an absolute dumpster fire and doesn't know what they're doing.
Let's make another Game of Thrones. That did all right. Oh, it's a great idea. Dragons and fire.
Do a prequel. People love prequels.
You know what we should do? We should do Superman again.
Yeah.
We should do it again.
Who's the bad guy? Lex Luthor. Okay, you're fired. Thank you for coming today. We can do his origin story. You're also fired. Please leave.
Yeah. Lee, we always talk about when people compete, the consumer wins, but what could happen if AEW doesn't stay on TBS, TNT, and if they can't find a suitable cable home? Should these contracts expire and WWE swoop in and eat their lunch?
I think the dumbest thing, or the best thing, depending on what side of this you're on, is if AEW doesn't maintain that contract, Amazon, Netflix, one of the streaming services is going to pick them up, and everyone's going to realize, oh, wow, this is way better than being on a network.
Yeah.
How much network ratings are you getting now? Is that how everyone's watching it? Are you really going on your TV and going to the channel? Or are you streaming this?
No, I mean, yeah, you're streaming it, or I mean, in my case, I DVR. And
Amazon
I don't watch live.
has live NFL football weekly. You don't think they're looking to expand upon that? Whoever is wise enough to go there first is going to win. By the way, hey, Ray, you got Prime. I got Prime. Prime's awesome, right? Maybe you don't have Prime, but I have Prime. Comes with Amazon Prime. So now you can introduce yourself to a whole nother bunch of wrestling fans. And on Prime, you got things like Invincible. You got things, that are really bloody and gory. You got The Boys. You're telling me this doesn't fit right in? It's not even the most violent thing they're going to have.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true. AEW would actually fit in very well on Amazon. That
I
would be
believe
interesting.
so. So I'm just saying, like, Max had Mortal Kombat, right?
Yes.
What are you waiting for, you morons? Sorry,
It's
I
time.
love predicting the future. We did this years ago. Everything
Yeah.
that we predicted technologically has actually happened.
Yeah.
All right.
And to be fair, and WWE already is kind of halfway there. Like
Of
all
course
their
they are.
pay-per-views
Yeah.
are on Peacock
They
now.
will suck out as much money as they can from television. But my point is, yeah, if someone's going to give them a contract, it's just not that far-fetched for me to think that Amazon or Netflix or even Apple TV, again, probably not Apple. All right. I mean, definitely not Disney Plus. I was joking about that.
Yeah.
Might be in line for this.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Our producer did just note, as a little sister would, that my predictions for movie theaters getting better has not happened. And that is true because movie theaters are stupid.
Yeah. To be fair, actually, at least in LA, a lot of the theaters have it's less seats, less theaters, but it's we bring the food to you. You have the reclining chairs.
So you're saying that I was right, Ray? You hear that, producer Caitlin?
Yeah. Like they're trying. They're trying to get people.
They're
like,
just behind. Look, Ray, there's an AMC in my town that I went to for decades, and it is so horrible, dude. It is so bad. It takes so the theaters are mildly grimy. Not all the seats work. The food takes a ridiculous amount of time. Now, to be fair, they are short staffed. I acknowledge that, but we're not talking, a steak dinner here. It's you put the popcorn in the bag and hand it to me, right?
Yeah.
It's just, or one of the things that, what grinds my gears, Ray? When I walk into a place like a movie theater and it's like the popcorn's not ready.
Yeah, that's like, insane.
That's management. Not blaming the workers. That's management. The popcorn is always ready. When you and I were kids, Ray, you walked in, there was a big glass thing right in front of you, always full of popcorn.
Yep. And when it was getting low, guess what they did? They popped some more.
You always heard it pop. And in fact, when you had the movie thing before the movie where it's like, welcome to this theater. Pop, 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 popcorn, soda. It's always ready, right? I walk into AMC now. It's like, you want a pizza? I want my popcorn because it's a movie theater. All right? Yeah. Who's getting pizza at a movie theater? If I want that, I'll go to Wawa because Wawa has pizza. Now, all right? I won't go to Wawa. It's a total lie. If I want pizza, I'm going to go someplace nice. It's a name of a place never heard of. It's got an Italian name. You know they make the good pizza. All right? If I want fast food pizza, I'll go to Pizza Hut back in 1989. Anyway.
Yeah.
Movie theaters, you have screwed the pooch and you need to do a better job. I mean this, if there's another world, I would open my own movie theater. And I'm not kidding, Ray. I would love to open my own movie theater and run it a certain way. I wouldn't make a fortune, but I'll tell you what, people would come to my theater. They'd enjoy it. They would be willing to spend the extra $5 the night because you're going to get that back. Yeah. Right. And we make it so kids would want to be there again. Yeah. I'm Lee Elias. And in my multiverse, I run a movie theater.
There you go.
And Ray, you're in like the little usher suit with the little hat, like the maroon hat.
Just tearing all the tickets.
Yeah. Next. I hate this. Hey, what is it, Ray?
No, I would you know what I would do? I would spoil the movie before, as everybody was walking in. It's like Vader's his father. Yeah, there you go.
Luke dies. Have a good night.
Luke dies. He throws away their lightsaber.
Yeah. Just ruin every movie. That would be really funny. Rosebud is his sled. Good night.
Yeah. He was dead all along too.
Yeah. In Sixth Sense, he was dead.
Yes. Yeah, he was dead.
Boy can see ghosts. Thank you for coming. Barbie's a doll.
Yeah.
The bomb in Oppenheimer works.
Yeah, the bomb works.
The bomb works, and we win the war.
Yes, yeah.
You don't need to go see it now.
Yeah. Spoiler alert: the Nazis lose World War II.
The Nazis lose. Yeah.
Yeah, the good guys win, the Allies win, the Nazis lose. So,
the bomb works.
Goodness,
the bomb works, and we go on to win the war.
Yes, exactly. We dropped 2 bombs on Japan.
Yes. It was like when we watched Chernobyl. It's like, it was exactly what they say it is.
Yeah, it's not going to end well. It doesn't end well. The reactor, it goes
It
nuclear.
goes nuclear.
It melts down. Yeah. Like
Yeah,
they
still
don't
melting
stop
down.
it.
Still melting down to this day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Way
Yeah.
to go, Russia.
Yeah. Although what's interesting is that life is returning to that area in different ways.
Chernobyl's in Ukraine, I believe, right? In northern Ukraine.
I think so.
I don't
like
think it's
near
actually
there.
in. Yeah. So I don't know. You say life is returning. It's not ready for life to return. Things are not.
No, it's like plants and some really interesting. Like they're studying like some like wild dogs have developed like radiation immunity.
Yeah.
And like they've started to run in packs around.
Yeah.
it.
No film has ever taught us about that. Right.
Yeah.
By the way, Godzilla is one of the top grossing films of all time right now. Godzilla -1.
That's right. I gotta go see Godzilla -1. Yeah.
Spoiler: he's a gigantic dinosaur.
Yeah. So
He
he likes
breathes fire.
he likes radiation. The radiation
Loves radiation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. King Kong wouldn't have a chance, but for some reason we put them against each other. But that doesn't matter.
And then now they're gonna team up in the next one because
yay! I wonder if Mothra will be there.
Yeah, maybe.
Monster.
Anyway, you know who's not gonna go to the movies anytime soon?
Oh, I know who's not going to the movies anytime soon. This is a story. Breaking news today as we're recording it, or yesterday.
Yes.
But man, look, we talked about Majors.
Yeah.
We talked about him that if he's found guilty, Ray will absolutely get his Six Flags bus and drive him over.
Yeah, I mean, look, here's the thing. We said it. Innocent until proven guilty. Innocent until proven guilty. We'd be hypocrites if we did. He was found guilty. Bye-bye, Jonathan Majors.
Yeah,
That's
fired. You've ruined your life, at least in films.
That's it. Sorry.
Yep.
He's found guilty on 2 of the 4 charges. Now, to be fair, they were the 2 of the lesser charges. It was the lesser harassment charge and the lesser assault charge, which is basically like, yeah, he basically like, well, he was drunk when he hit her. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. You don't hit people. It's called assault.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Marvel, Disney, give them credit. Immediately fired him.
90 minutes. Within 90 minutes, it took Disney to pull the trigger. They were ready. Yeah. They were ready either way. You knew they had 2 press releases ready to go.
Yeah.
They were ready to go no matter what. Either fire him or we knew we were going to defend him or whatever. As soon as the guilty verdict came in, the jury of 6 people took about 4 hours to deliberate. Again, 2 of the 4 charges comes with up to a year in jail. And I will also say this right off the bat. I hope he serves the full year. I don't want none of this. Well, he's a celebrity. He's going to go on probation for 3 years. All this other garbage. No, you did the crime. You do the time. That's it.
Dumb.
I'm sorry. You go to, that's it. It's a jail sentence. Then you go to jail for
we don't even have to like, that's it. We don't have to even talk about it. Yeah, you're guilty. Yeah. So now we need to talk about is where is Marvel going to go with this? And we get a lot.
Recast.
I've heard a lot of amazing stories here. Someone said, well, Will Smith. I was like, that would be replacing one assaulter with another assaulter.
I know. I thought that would be the most ridiculous thing ever. I heard that story too.
We're pretty creative people, Ray. I took a step back. It took me about 1 minute to figure this out. Not even 1 minute. It took me about 10 seconds. In an infinite world of multiverses, and when they've already introduced a show where one character, Loki, can be seen as many different people, you, as you said, recast, and it's just a different variant.
That's it.
Right? Now, what they may do is quickly move the Kang storyline along and finish it quickly and bring in Doctor Doom, which is what I expect them to do. They have already said that the Kang Dynasty Avengers film has been renamed. It's going to be renamed something else.
Yes, but it is still going. Kang is still going to be a key part of it. They have said they are not moving on from the villain.
Yes,
but they are going to.
This is what you do. You recast and you move on, and you don't have to talk about. You don't even have to justify it in the movies if you don't want to. All right, but you recast.
I mean, Don Cheadle's the perfect example. You've already done it before. Mark Ruffalo with the Hulk, like you've already done it before.
It's happened multiple times. It's not a big thing. It's not a big deal. You recast, you move on. Find yourself a young, great actor. I will say this about Majors, and this has nothing to do with how I feel about him being sentenced. He was a tremendous actor. I mean, he was really, really good. But you know what? Doesn't matter. You screwed up. You're out. Find another great actor. I'm sure you can find one.
Yeah. And
put him in that role. The scene that I keep thinking about now, and this is funny, is that post scene from Ant-Man. Now I wish they hadn't have made that, because they could have that scene could have solved everything if they never made it.
Yeah. In fact, actually, they might go back. Hey, if they can put Hayden Christensen as a digital Force Ghost in Return of the Jedi, maybe not, obviously not the whole film, but that end scene, you redo that end scene with. I've heard some really good suggestions, like John Boyega.
Sure, I'm sure he would love that. I mean, look, find someone of the same caliber as an actor, and you just move on. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Now, and we erase the name Jonathan Majors from the lexicon forever.
Yeah. There was somebody who actually joked that he's like, well, you can always bring Terrence Howard back.
It actually would be really funny, but I don't think he's going to touch Marvel with
no, I don't think so either. I don't think that would ever happen either. But like that, but no, honestly, like there are plenty of folks out there that you can find that can take this on and that should take this on. And it's just as simple as a recast. Look, in my opinion, again, Disney did the right thing. You don't let the court of public opinion make blockbuster decisions for you and your company. But the second that he was found guilty in a court of law,
you tried that with James Gunn, it didn't work.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And now he's one of the most powerful people in Hollywood.
Yes, for another company. Right. So like the court of law says you screwed up, and look, Majors are going to go to jail, and that's the thing is that when he comes out of jail, it's going to come down to people. Do you forgive him? Do you because we're also in a society very much like, well, if you served your time, then you're supposed to be that's it. And it's going to be a question now of will Hollywood forgive him?
He might come back as an actor, but he's never going to be in this role again.
Oh no, I'm not saying. Oh yeah, done as
Kevin Spacey is,
and he's probably done with, Disney. Yeah,
Kevin Spacey didn't even really do anything illegal, and well, he kind of did, but my point is he's not even back.
Well, he was never convicted.
He's one of the greatest actors in history. He's not back, so no, this is probably going to be. I mean, look, people have given the Robert Downey Jr. comparison. I'm like, he was doing drugs. Like
it's a whole very different story.
He didn't insult anybody. Yeah, it's all wrong. But it's he did that to himself, and he found his way through. You know.
Well, so that's the thing. And then,
bye.
Yeah, that's it. And again, Hollywood will decide if they want to blacklist him or not once he's back again, and we'll see what happens. And it might be something where, like you said, maybe in 10 years, right? He serves his year in prison, assuming that he actually will serve the time.
I'm going to say it again. Mel Gibson never recovered fully. I mean, it's just not going to happen. He'll be back, but he's going to never be what he could have been. That's all I'm going to say about him.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
Don't assault people.
Yeah, don't hit people. Trust me, folks. Trust me. If I don't hit people, you can not hit people.
You do what we do. We make a podcast on a metaphorical bus, and you run them over. That's how you do it.
That's right. It's a facetious bus, and you pretend to run them over. Pretend, make believe. You don't actually do it.
Big Baby Diesel.
I don't actually own a bus yet.
Well, we have toy buses, but they're not. We don't play with those on weekdays.
Yeah. Unless somebody wants to give us a bus, we'll do Geeks Across America.
Why would you make me daydream like that? There'll be a movie theater in the bus with popcorn all the time.
All the time.
All the time. Doesn't have to be a movie on. Oh, now I want popcorn. God, I'm hungry.
You can have it with your grilled cheese.
I can't eat the grilled cheese. I don't like it.
So moving on from that, other lawsuits going on this week. This was interesting.
Geeks in Law and Order.
Yeah, dum. Google lost their lawsuit with Epic. Now, this is interesting because Epic lost the lawsuit with Apple last year, but this has to do with, again, Google and the App Store, and basically proved that Google has a monopoly on Android devices, which they do, and Epic feels that what Google was charging for Fortnite and for the fees and prices and whatnot, and that Epic should be allowed to control the pricing more, and Google was found, now Google's going to appeal and all this other stuff, but Google was found to have a monopoly, and this is a really, really big deal and a really big win for Epic and the games industry. Lee, what are your thoughts on Google having a monopoly on Google Play, which they really kind of do on Android devices, and I mean, this seems like a really big win for, already Epic is already a bajillion-dollar company, despite all the people they keep laying off. But this only has to help them and other game companies in the long run, it seems like.
Yeah, look, I'll give you a little business insight. When I work with a major retailer with my company, they don't tell me what to price my product at. They can make suggestions, they can do sales in terms of like on the product, but we have a thing called MSRP. We have pricing, right? And we set the pricing for our products. All right. I think the issue here is that, you look at it a little bit more of a digital product. Oh, there's not a lot of overhead. There's tremendous overhead. There's people that work there. There's developers. There's people that watch it. There's testers. There's everything that goes in it. It's marketing. So yeah, I do believe that Apple too has a little bit too much of a stranglehold. I mean, I remember you remember when Apple Music launched and they were like, "Oh, we're going to give it for free for a week or a month or whatever," and Taylor Swift
Yeah.
was like, "Yeah, no, you're not.
Yeah.
You just give my stuff away." And now Apple played that very wise. It was like, "You know what, Taylor, you're right." In background, they were like, "Shit," but like no, I think that like these are titans fighting titans. Let's be honest about it.
Yes.
But you got my other metaphor. It's like oil. Whoever controls the oil, right? Whoever controls the spice controls, right? So
Spice melange.
yeah, the Google controls the spice, but it's all Dune, Ray. It's all just Dune. Watch
Yes.
Dune, you'll understand business. None of that is true. This is not professional advice. You should not watch Dune to learn business. But Dune is pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, I think
Spice must flow.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this shakes things up for Google Play in the App Store.
Well,
Specifically Google Play here.
Again, Ray, I'm going to say it, and we're going to talk about this with the next story too. The gaming industry is eating itself alive.
Yeah.
Okay. Now the thing is this: it's also making so much money that it's regenerating itself at the same time.
Yeah.
Right. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say it shouldn't be eating itself alive.
Right. But my point is that it kind of can afford to eat itself alive, literally. And I don't mean that in a good way. All right. Because at some point it won't.
Yeah.
All right. But the gaming industry, to me, I mean, look, it's not that old, right? Again, you can look at gaming in a lot of different ways. I would say that the current state of gaming would start when, games went into the home. Right. I'm not including
40 years ago. Really, I would say even Nintendo, right? Post crash.
So 40 years. We'll just say it's only been around 40 years, right? As an industry. And it's really entering its adolescence to me in a lot of ways. Right. Yeah. Or maybe it's like a mid-20s shift of something like that where it's got to figure itself out. Yeah. But like these are things you saw pro sports go through this, where like the owners treated the players so dirty. Right. Yeah. And it was just like we don't ever talk about the little known players from the 1950s. You know what I mean? It doesn't come up. And that's just where this industry is at. Now, I think inevitably something is going to happen, a huge shift or a huge change, where some competition is going to enter the ring that no one saw coming, like another league. You know what I mean? And it may be VR. I mean, it may be something like that. Right. Yeah. But I'm glad that nobody can monopolize the store. The Google or Apple or Netflix or Microsoft should not be setting the price for these companies.
Yeah.
Right. And here's the thing. And I'm going to say it. People are going to think I'm crazy when I say this. Like GTA is coming.
Yep.
How much do you think GTA should be as a consumer?
Well, the industry standard is right now, $70 a game.
Right. And I'm going to tell you as a business person, that is absolutely not sustainable in any way. Right. That game should be $150. And I know that sounds crazy, but tell me I'm wrong. Tell me it's not worth $150. Tell me it's not worth twice the price. Right.
Right.
Like there's your jobs back. Right. Yeah. It's something you got to earn. Don't get me wrong. But like, we're stuck. Like $75 is too little. And that's why you have all the microtransactions.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, and that's why, and people remember, and that raise only just happened a couple of years ago during the pandemic.
It's
for
way
almost
low.
20 years, it was at $60 a game.
I hate to say this, it's way low, and the need for consoles is less and less and less by the year.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So,
you don't make your money on consoles, you make your money on software.
Right. And we've been predicting this, like EA. Why are you selling NHL, NBA, NFL every year? Like, just give me my Madden subscription.
Yeah.
Again, how much does Madden cost? $70, $79?
$70 each year. Yeah.
$20 a month. Like you're telling me, and you're a little bit of a different scenario here. You're telling me you wouldn't pay $20 a month for EA, right? You know what I mean? Like maybe not Madden, maybe or how about this? How about this? What if I said to you, you're gonna get 4 EA Sports games or 3, whatever you want. I mean, you're gonna get FIFA, you're gonna get Madden, you're gonna get NHL. Do they make anything else big?
No, those are the primary ones.
All right, so you get NHL, Madden, and you're getting FIFA.
Yeah.
All right, and it's X amount a month.
Yeah.
$20, 25 a month, 20 a month. Like you're doing that. You're probably doing that.
Yeah.
All right. You do it. You make it a little less than the 3 games would cost together.
Right.
And now you got year-round sports. Like that's the future.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: they're not going to need anybody to sell it. They could sell it themselves at some point. So that, again, bold predictions like doesn't make a lot of sense. But something like that's going to happen.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're already starting to see the subscription model with Game Pass and PS Plus.
It's working.
And yeah, and
It's
even
working.
Nintendo Online and stuff, right? Like, yeah, it is interesting to see how that is how it's going to break out. Yeah, I mean, look, and the industry is changing. You mentioned in our next story, E3 is dead officially.
Oh,
the ESA
brutal.
has officially pulled the plug because they could not get their head out of their ass. They couldn't get out of their own way, really. But it was also partially, to be fair, well, it's a mix of reasons, right? The last year, they should have went ahead and done the show at a loss anyway last year, just to show people and give people faith that they could pull it off and that it could still matter, right? Because after the pandemic, obviously E3 went away and all this other stuff, and it was struggling to come back. And then what ended up happening is that a lot of the big publishers pulled out, right? EA's doing its own thing. Nintendo stopped going a while ago. Sony, Microsoft, and whatnot. And I think the reason is obviously we've talked about this before. When they could control the message, they had no reason to feel like they had to be at E3, and the onus was then on E3 to make it be like, no, you need to be here, and it was on them to show them why. And they would instead folded. Look, I'm sad because it is a chapter in the industry, and now the only thing that you have during the summer is Jeff Keighley's very restrictive, very exclusive Summer Games Fest, right? Which is very small, and he only selects, only a couple hundred press are allowed to go, and it feels very, very constrictive compared to what E3 was, which was already a constrictive show. And it's just sad. I know there are some folks out there who were talking about like they didn't have great times at E3, and I'm sorry for that. I always had a great time at E3. It was always a highlight of the year. It was great to see all these amazing games, talk to all these amazing people, and it just felt like it felt like it really was a true celebration of games while we were there.
It was.
Which is something that the Game Awards and Games Fest and Gamescom and all this other stuff, they're desperately trying to get that feeling, but they have not been able to replicate
They didn't innovate. It's like, look,
Yeah.
Ray, we're seeing this in trade shows across the world right now. Like I can give you hockey as an example. The biggest hockey trade show is called Let's Play Hockey. And every year, less and less of the big names are showing up. Now, what's great for is the little names, and the companies you never heard of, and the trading card companies and those things. But the amount of money it costs to go there, the amount of money it costs for a booth, the amount of money it costs to get in, starting to not make sense. Right? So you got to innovate. You got to find a way to change it. All right, in a digital world.
Yeah.
So E3 just unfortunately wasn't doing that. And what they should have banked on is what you just said: the camaraderie, the people that are coming, the get-togethers. You want to save something like E3, you got to give more of a reason for people to go than just, oh, this game is going to be there. No, your friends come to this conference. E3 is where you meet all of your gaming friends. It's where you meet all your good friends. And you know what? This year only, we're providing you with this solution to meet. You guys are going to get an exhibitor hall this year for this and that.
Yeah.
None of that happened. And nobody wants to take the time to do that.
No, and it's a shame. And it's very sad. Reed Pop tried to come in and take over last year, but again, they pulled the plug on it when a lot of folks bounced the last moment. And it just, So E3, a chapter in the games industry is officially done. And as we move more and more to digital only stuff,
we need to make Lee 3. Ray, you're invited to the Lee 3 conference this year. It's in Philadelphia.
Okay.
All expenses paid.
Oh, I'm in.
But you can't be angry.
Ooh.
But you can bring the bus. You can happily ride over people.
Oh, well, then I mean, if I'm driving the bus, I'll be happy.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Can I borrow some money, please? Exactly the amount it's going to cost you to fly here would be really perfect, actually. No.
Yeah, I don't know if I can swing
Hey,
that.
I'm going to
right
get you
now.
on Spirit Air in the big seat.
Eh,
Did you see that video the other day of the Spirit Air flight and there's no pilot and it cuts and the woman's like, "Sweetheart, you got to pay extra for the pilot. It's Spirit. You got to if you want to upgrade to a pilot, you got to pay for the pilot."
Oh,
Really
God.
funny.
Oh, God.
I've only been on one Spirit flight. It was a good flight. And I'm gonna probably leave it at that and not ever press my luck once again.
Yeah, because I've
Yeah.
done Spirit once as well, and it was not a good flight.
It's a bus in the sky, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right,
Made
airline
that
Spirit.
mistake
If you're
once,
looking
never
for us to
again.
sponsor, we'll talk nice about you.
Yeah.
We'll actually do the show. Well, we can do the show live on the air on a plane with no one else on it. That's my only thing. Anyway,
Oh, goodness.
we do have a cool story to kind of end today.
Yeah, we got
I'll end on
we
today.
got a couple of things I want to quickly very mention. Producer Caitlin wants us to use Spirit as a bigger bus.
And in the
Maybe.
spirit of things,
Yes. A couple of things I want to mention. This happened very very last minute. Very unfortunate. But we're talking about James McCaffrey, who is was the voice of Max Payne, passed away at 65. Very, very sad about that. He, of course, an icon in gaming, and a big reason why Remedy and Rockstar are the behemoths, the juggernauts that they are now. Just an iconic voice in games, gone far too soon. Very, very sad. Condolences to his family, his friends, and to his fans, of which we are amongst them. So that was very, very sad.
Max Payne was a game, really changed a lot, changed gaming.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it absolutely was. The bullet time effects,
changed gaming.
the noir aspect, right? Like it just, very sad that about that. And then also, while we're still on, and we're talking about games and voiceovers, this is the uplifting story that Lee was talking about. This is the last thing that we're going to mention before we go, before we wrap up. And then, of course, stay tuned for later in the week where I give my top 10 games of the year. Speaking of games, really the only top 10 game list that matters is mine, because nobody plays more video games than me.
Yeah, Ray. Hell yeah. I agree with that.
Nobody plays more video games than I do and can more authoritatively talk about.
Hell yeah. I love hearing you talk about yourself that way. Damn, man. You got me happy. You got me happy, Ray.
It's the truth. Our buddy Matt Cavalieri mentioned that I should spearhead my own annual Game Awards show.
It's Lee 3.
Yeah, Lee 3. Lee 3 with the Ray Awards.
Do you have a Golden Carcillo?
Yeah.
Yes, I have a Golden Carcillo. What does it look like?
Yeah, no, it's a bus. It's a bus.
It's a Golden Carcillo bus.
It's a golden bus.
Love it.
It's a crazy taxi bus.
I want everyone listening to know I can hear our producer laughing in her office. That's how I know this is funny, because the door is closed. I usually can't hear. I can hear her laughing right now.
It's great.
Welcome to Lee 3, home of the Carcillos. The Ray Awards. Do you have a Carcillo? It's like an Oscar.
Yes,
but
exactly. It's an Oscar for video games.
Yeah, it's just a toy bus, like the little kids.
It's practical. You can take it off the stand. You can play with it. That's what makes it great. But yeah, we're gonna end today's show on a very good story. Peter Cullen, the voice of Optimus Prime. Probably best known as the voice of Optimus Prime amongst many other things over his voiceover career of 40 plus years, received the Lifetime Achievement Award from the National Academy of TV and Arts and Sciences. If you haven't seen his speech, folks, do yourself a favor.
So good.
Go Google it. Go look it up. If you are a fan of 80s cartoons, and again, the fact that he got it from Frank Welker, of course, another legend.
If you listen to this show,
yeah,
you're a fan. There's no way you're not.
Yeah. Do yourself a favor, watch his acceptance speech. We want to extend our congratulations to the legendary Peter Cullen, because it just it's well deserved, and it's just really wonderful to see And yeah, he talks about gratitude. He talks
Because
about
of his brother. I mean, his brother served in the Marine Corps. His brother is the inspiration.
Was the inspiration for Optimus Prime.
Yeah, he always says his brother was a Marine and he was auditioning for the role, and his brother told him, who apparently had a very Optimus Prime voice.
Yes.
If you're gonna be a hero, be a real hero, and have empathy and do it right. And that's how Optimus was born. And in his speech, he gives an amazing amount of credit to his brother, as he always has. It's not new.
Yes.
He's given that speech before, but it's a voice of our childhood. It's a voice of a lot of people's childhood today. It's a voice of some very good and subpar movies from the turn of the century.
Yes, not his fault, but he does great in them. He does great in them.
Yeah, not his fault.
But yeah, no. So congrats to Peter Cullen. We are fans, and we salute you, sir. Until all are one.
Shaw Wing.
Yes.
Here's a throwback for you.
On that note, roll out.
Cue the music. Let's roll out. Ray knows this. When I get sick and my voice gets really muffled, I do a really good Optimus Prime.
Yes, he does. It's true.
It's only when I'm sick. You can hear it when I bring my voice down, how it could be possible. But if I don't have the raspiness, it doesn't work. So this episode is ending. So let's roll out to Ray's Top 10. Make sure you tune into that mashup. It's not a mashup. It's Ray's Top 10. We're skipping the mashup this week for Ray's Top 10. It's a mashup of games and ratings. It's Ray's Top 10 at E3. Did see what won the Carcillo this year.
Yes. Yeah, so stay tuned for that. But until then, we hope you tune into that. But of course, this is the last episode of 2023.
Good to be back, everybody.
Yes,
good to see you. 12 episodes, 24 episodes, technically. It's good to see all of you. Thank you for being here. Make sure that you share it with your friends. If you have a business or a sponsorship you'd like to share with us, we'd be all ears. We do a great job monetizing everything for you. Also, we have a massive online audience. So let us know if you're interested in sponsoring the geeks who like grilled cheese sandwiches. Sports. I meant to say sports.
We also like grilled cheese. Lee can't eat it anymore, but we still like grilled cheese. And as producer Caitlin says, we also like buses.
And buses.
So, but yeah, no, thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks for supporting us in our return here on season 2. It's been a great year. Looking for bigger and better things though in 2024.
Big year 24.
Yes, bigger in 24. Thank you all again for your support. And so for the final time in 2023, have a great rest of your holiday season. Have a happy and safe new year. And we will see you in 2024 when the calendar turns over. But until then, that's Lee. I'm Ray. And this has been Geeks Who Like Sports.